All right, y'all. So I want to go back here to the Breaking Points focus group of Republican voters in New Hampshire. And here is where, I mean, they already lost me in the first clip, but they extra lose me here. Now, I want to be clear. These people who are doing this focus group are like just regular people in New Hampshire who happen to be Republicans, right? And I'm shocked at the extent to which they've lost connection with reality. I mean, it is truly astonishing. So let's go ahead and dive into it, and then we'll react.
The candidates have said, can Donald Trump beat Joe Biden?
The problem is the fair election. So here we go again. We're starting the cranking up with the COVID, supposedly with the masking, and it's the same play they did 4 years ago. They're going to play the mail-in ballots, and the cheating's going to take place, and it's going to be the same scenario again.
Like, I work in the schools, and a couple of the teachers were like, already COVID's coming in, the masks. Some of the schools are already going online. Some of the colleges are getting shut down. Like it's like a deja vu. And then you think about it, okay, so then the mail-in ballots got to come. Like, do I think he can beat him? Absolutely, if it's fair.
So let's just be clear about what they're saying. COVID coming back in and the masking and lockdowns and all that stuff will then lead to the mail-in ballots, and the mail-in ballots are the way that the Democrats cheat. This is the argument that they're making. So, in other words, seems to me like they're saying, hey, they're going to do the hoax of COVID to try to steal the next election, just like they did in the previous election. Now, if you don't believe me, if you say, hey, Kyle, that's a straw man, you're reading too much into what they're saying, wait for it. One of them is going to explicitly say that.
COVID stuff you think is linked to the election. And who's doing that? Who's orchestrating that? Go on, Jim.
The Democratic Party. It was an article written by, I forget what the news magazine was, but it was a liberal news magazine, and they came out and basically said it was planned to have the election go the way it was. And a lot of Republicans went along with that plan because they wanted to keep the swamp. They wanted to keep the dirty politics, and some of the Republicans are involved with that. And it was a planned event, and they used COVID as a way to push it in.
So he's saying Republican politicians were in on the plan of Democrats to steal the last election. And again, they're saying the justification for stealing the election is COVID. So are they really are they all in with the plandemic idea? Let's see.
With the plandemic, we see it coming again, and there's a lot of writing on the wall. I think there's a lot of money exchanged. There's big pharmas behind it all. As far as can Trump beat Biden, I think I could probably beat Biden at this point. The guy's stumbling around, forgets where he is, can't remember his words, doesn't know what he's talking about. And so I wonder, like, really who's running? We put the name Biden on it, but who's really holding those puppet strings? And can Trump win over those?
Again, it's amazing to me how this just seems like, your friend's mom or something. Just a normal person. But then they start talking politics and they're like, yeah, there was a giant hoax of COVID and it was a plandemic, and the whole point of it was in order to get so the Democrats could steal the election. This is out there, bro. Now watch, you're going to see there's going to be one dissenter in the group.
So if you think the 2020 election was rigged.
Oh my God. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 of 8 Republicans in the room say the 2020 election was rigged. I hate to tap into smug liberal mode, but the fact of the matter is, this is like a failure of media literacy and a failure of education, right? Like, it's not that difficult to figure out, hey, we had over 60 court cases on this thing. Over 60 court cases. And it amounted to nothing. Hey, Trump had not just Republicans, but MAGA Republicans screaming at him, you're wrong. It was not stolen. There's no evidence of determinative election fraud. Like, it doesn't take that much research to blow up the narrative quickly. What is Occam's razor in this situation? Trump is incredibly narcissistic. He does not want to see himself as a loser. So he was desperately trying to hang on to power, even though he lost the popular vote by 7 million. And all these people are with him. Yeah, no, the election was stolen. Then why is it Republican secretaries of state, Republican governors, the Department of Justice, Bill Barr, Trump's own attorneys, all these people are like, bro, you're wrong. Stop listening to Sidney Powell, who says Venezuela or China hacked the voting machines to give it to Joe Biden. This is cuckoo.
I'm repeating what some of you guys have said back to me here. This idea that COVID is coming back up again. Put your hands up if you think that's a deliberate plan to try and basically stitch the next election up for the Democrats.
It's all about fear. And that's what it is. It's all about fear. Scare everybody. Stay indoors, wear your mask. COVID's coming back. I'm here to help. It's fear.
It's control to divide people.
Let's just note for the record here, Biden never did a national lockdown. And they're not even talking about doing a lockdown now, even though there is a surge of COVID. Can we just acknowledge that fact? He never did a national lockdown, and they're not even discussing a lockdown, even though there's a surge of COVID. Those two facts totally bust up their entire narrative. Completely bust it up. Water off a duck's ass. They don't care.
Put your hands up if you do think that there's at least some connection between COVID coming back and the next election being rigged for the Democrats.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 of 8. 5 of 8 buy into this pandemic idea that the pandemic is staged in order to get Democrats elected. Guys, over 1 million Americans died. Like, I would love to follow up these people. So do you think the virus is fake? Or do you think it's real, but it's just being used to get Democrats elected? Now, wait, this homie right here, the DeSantis guy, is going to come in with an elbow off the top rope in this conversation. Just busting up all these idiotic narratives. Wait for it. All right, so I can't find the clip, but this guy comes in at the end of that back and forth, and he says, wait, you think a COVID outbreak under Biden is going to help him? You think part of the conspiracy and the plan and the hoax to get Biden reelected is to have a COVID outbreak under him so that Democrats can rig it with mail-in voting? Well, having a COVID outbreak under Biden right now near the election would absolutely hurt him. It wouldn't help him. So your arguments make no sense at all. What's amazing to me, these are regular New Hampshire Republican voters, and they're still obsessed with the COVID stuff, and they're all in on the pandemic conspiracy, and I would love to dig deeper with a lot of them and ask them, do you literally think COVID is fake? Like, do you think nobody died from the virus? Do you think it's real and it's just been used to get Democrats elected? There's obviously zero evidence for that theory at all. So it's just amazing that we're at this point. And look, I got to keep it real with you guys. In a earlier part of this focus group, they're asked, like, what media sources do you listen to? And virtually all of them, not all of them, I think there's like one or two who listen to like some standard news sources, like, oh yeah, I don't know, I read CNBC and whatever, fill in the blank. The DeSantis guy actually likes 538, which probably explains why he's not completely insane like a lot of the other people. But most of them listen to these really obscure news sources. Some woman was like, I listen to Health Freedom News and I get my news from my Facebook mom group that I'm a member of. And it's like, as a general rule, the more obscure the news outlet that the person listened to, the more insane their opinions were. And that sucks, man, because there was a time when independent media, new media was like the beacon of hope for the future of like, oh, look, we can break through mainstream media BS and tell everybody the truth. But now independent news and new media, they have their own litany of problems. Different problems from mainstream media, but it's a litany of problems. You have terminal contrarians and narrative humpers and conspiracy theorists galore, and these people are just getting a steady diet of absolute lunacy, and then they have these crazy opinions and think like, well, what do you mean? No, this is exactly what it is. Pandemic, of course. So, really terrifying stuff, and I have to say, this focus group bodes well for Trump. All right, guys, that's the show. I love you all very much, as always. Do me a big favor, click like, click subscribe, all that fun stuff. Click that bell icon so you get a notification every single time a video drops. I deeply appreciate it. Much love to everybody who supports this show on Patreon. You guys make it work. Much love to everybody who supports Crystal Kyle and Friends on Substack. You guys make that work as well. By the way, we have Andrew Yang on this week in studio. It should be really fun. He's got a new book out. We'll talk about that and get into a whole bunch of political stuff. So should be very, very interesting. So definitely check out Crystal Kyle and Friends on Substack. Again, link below. You can sign up for free and get the audio version of the podcast, or you can sign up and pay $5 a month. Then you get the video version and you get it a day early. All right, so that's all I got for you guys. I love you all, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Peace. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.